Hey guys, so today I'm going to tell a story time. Sit back, get a snack. I don't know how long this is gonna be, but here we go. I'm just gonna wrap myself in this blanket. I just took it out of the dryer, so it's really warm. So, there was this boy. Just gonna call this boy Garth. About a year ago, I was in college. I was a DCOM minor, digital communications, and we had colloquium, which for those of you who don't know, it's just something required for your major. I would explain, but every major is different. So for DCOM, I had to go to like these kind of like art galleries. It's almost the same thing as my art colloquium. Technically, I didn't have to go because I was only a minor, but I really enjoyed doing it, so I would just go anyways. But I went alone because all my friends are art majors. Well, I do have some DCOM major friends, but at the time, I was the only one there. So I show up. There's not that many people there. It was at a time where people had classes, so it was kind of expected that there wasn't going to be a big turnout. But like I said, I chose to go because I enjoyed going and seeing the work that was there. And I remember all the faces that were there because like I said, there was hardly anyone there. So I remember the faces that were there even though I didn't know them personally. There was this one in particular, he kept looking at me, like, he kept like glancing at me, which I thought was weird, but I was like, whatever. And I knew he was friends with people that I was friends with, so like I knew of him. Didn't know his name, didn't even know he was a DCOM major, like I knew nothing. Like I said, I just know of him, I've seen him with people that I'm friends with, but I've never even heard anyone talk about him. So I literally knew nothing about him. I ended up going back to my dorm after that, and you know, I was on Facebook and stuff, and then it's about midnight, I'm still on my laptop, and I get a Facebook message, and it's from that boy. I could see his profile picture, I know it's him, and I'm not friends with him on Facebook, but he sent me a message. And I'm thinking like, oh, maybe he wants to know something about DCOM, I don't know. I mean, why else would he message me? We literally don't know each other. He was like, are you a DCOM major? And I was like, no, I'm a minor. And he was like, well, what's your major? And I was like, art. And he was like, oh, he's like, you're going on the art trip, because we have an art trip every fall and every spring. So I'm thinking, oh, he messaged me because he probably knows that I'm an art major, and maybe he wants to know something about the art trip. I was like, are you like an art major or minor or anything? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, then are you going on the trip? And he was like, no. And I'm thinking like, well then why did he message me if this has nothing to do with DCOM or art? I don't know. Kind of brushed it off. I thought nothing of it. A week or two goes by. It's the art trip. Have a good time. I'm saying I have a good time and I literally can't even remember it, but I'm gonna assume I had a good time. Was that when Casper drugged me all over New York? It probably was. I mean, he does it every time. I don't know. I can't remember. Was that? I have no idea. I don't remember the art trip, but I'm sure it was a good time, because it usually is. And usually these art trips, we don't get back to the school until around like 11 or midnight, because it's just so far. At that point, my phone is usually dying. I end up getting a message from him before we got back to the school that was like, hey, how was the trip? And I was like, this is weird. I'm not gonna respond. I don't know him. So I just ignored his message. A couple nights after that, he messages me. He was like, hey, what are you up to? And I was like, well, I'm in the art building. I'm working on my senior project, which is true. Like I literally, like that's all I did my senior year was work on my senior art project. I could tell he was like kind of upset that I wasn't like available to like hang out or anything. So I was like, well, I'll be in the art building. You know, if you want to be a grandma like me and do homework. But he ended up not coming, so I was like, alright. Part of me was like, thank God. But another part of me was like, no, because now he's just gonna keep bothering me. It was like part of me wanted to just hang out with him to like get it over with, but another part of me was like, I really don't want to because I don't know him and it'll be awkward. Fast forward. I was in the computer lab as I usually am working on my project, and I was leaving and we ended up coming into contact, and I was like, sorry, I have to pack, because it was before, I don't know if it was before winter break or before, it was before some type of break, because I had to go back and pack because I hadn't packed and I was leaving the next morning. But he was like, oh no, like we'll just hang out for a little bit, blah blah blah. And he was like, do you have alcohol? And I was like, wait. Like, I did have alcohol in my dorm, but I wasn't trying to share it, especially with somebody who I don't really even know, and I also wasn't trying to drink, I was trying to pack. So yeah, I did tell him I had alcohol, because I didn't want to lie. The mutual friends that we had were friends that we go out, like, not drinking with, but like we kind of party with, so like, it would just be clear that I was lying. And I was also 21, so there's just a good chance that I had alcohol, you know. Wasn't thinking anything of it because I'm naive, I guess. And I was like, yeah, I have alcohol. And he was like, oh, what do you have? And I told him what it was, and I was like, you know, it's not really that great. Like, he was like, oh, well, I should come over and try it. And I was like, I don't remember exactly what I responded. I probably should have pulled up our messages. Because I could probably read them word for word, so I apologize. If Garth is actually watching this and I'm getting something wrong, I apologize. This is just what I can remember at the moment. Long story short, he ended up coming over. I was packing. I had music playing, because I usually play music when I'm packing or cleaning or whatever. I'm just usually playing music. Kind of making like small talk. He sees the bottle of alcohol under my bed and he pulls it out and he's like, oh, this is actually really good alcohol, blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah. There's not that much left, you know. I was hoping he wasn't gonna drink it because, you know, I really just wanted to save it. There was only a little bit left. Even though, you know, I'm not an alcoholic, I just, you know, what if I was gonna go to a party and I needed alcohol? I wasn't trying to buy more alcohol. So anyway, he sits on my bed and I'm kind of packing and we're just kind of having a conversation. I don't even know what we're talking about because, like, we literally don't, like, we don't really know each other. We just have friends of friends. And you're probably thinking like, well, Stephanie, why is he in your dorm if you literally didn't know him? I don't know. I was just thinking, oh, we have mutual friends and I like our mutual friends, so he must be a good person. I'm not saying he's not a good person, but like, this part isn't that great. I have this like thing with like slots to put your shoes in, and the whole thing is filled with Converse. I mean, I wear Converse all day, every day. I have like 13 or 14 pairs. I pull that out because I'm trying to pick out what shoes I want to bring home for break. I can't remember exactly what he said, but the way that his facial expressions were almost made it seem like, ew, like, why Converse? If Converse aren't your style, whatever, but like, for someone who's very obsessed with Converse, I took offense to it. And anyway, we're talking, and he starts pointing out the pictures that I had on my wall. Because I like to print out, the beginning of the year, I like to print out pictures that I really like from like Facebook and stuff, and I'll just stick them in my wall, like, of me and my friends and stuff. And I had a bunch of little pictures from my Polaroid camera, and then he's pointing to a bunch of pictures of me and Megan. And for those who don't know Megan, Megan's my best friend, and also we have a YouTube channel that we've had since 2008. And some of the pictures on my wall were screenshots from videos that we filmed. And I tell him like, oh, this is from like my YouTube channel that I have with my best friend. And he was like, oh, he's like, I have a YouTube channel too. And I'm like, oh, like, that's cool. Like, I'm finding out like we have things in common. I'm like, okay, like we could be friends. Like, this could be cool. As he kept getting closer to me and talking about these photos, I could smell alcohol. So I assumed he was drinking before he got here. It kind of like threw me off a little bit because he didn't seem like he was drunk. But the longer he was there, the more drunk he seemed. He was like, do you smoke weed? And I was like, no. And I was like, you know, I'm friends with a lot of people that do, but I don't personally. And he was like, have you ever? And I was like, no. Why? And he was like, oh, you just seem pretty chill, so I thought you did. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, you just seem like a really cool girl, so I just assumed you smoked. And I was like, so like now I'm not cool because you found out I don't smoke? A couple minutes go by, we're like talking about the music I had on. He was introducing me to these artists and stuff. It was pretty normal, but it was still kind of uncomfortable because like we were sitting on my bed, not like really close or anything, but we were just like sitting on my bed talking about music. With him being kind of drunk, he was like ruining things. He like knocked over my cactus and there was dirt everywhere. That annoyed me. Then I can tell something was up because he was like, what would you do if I closed your laptop? And I was like, I wouldn't be happy. Because I had homework up on that I had to send the next morning before I could go home. And then he was like, I should stay here for the night. And I was like, you shouldn't. And that point, I was really just not feeling him, like, at all. I was just like, please, like, leave soon. He's like, oh, you have more pictures on the other wall. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he, like, stands up and he's pointing to them and he's saying something, almost like trying to get me to, like, come up and see what he was talking about, because he was trying to ask me something and I didn't know, like, what he meant. So I stood up, and then that's when he, like, slowly, like, turned to me and, like, grabbed me and then, like, kissed me. And in that moment, I didn't want to kiss him, but I was like, what am I gonna do? Because, like, I literally, like, I don't really know him, and, like, what am I gonna say? Like, get out! Like, what if he goes psycho and then kills me? You don't know. So I kind of, like, played along, and then it was just, no. So then I just kind of, like, pushed him away a little bit and sat back on my bed. And then I pulled out my phone and I start texting Brittany, my sister, and I'm like, Brittany, help. Because at that point I just don't know what to do. And then he was, like, leaning on me, he, like, had his head on my lap, and I was like, oh my god, like, this is really awkward. And so I was just like, I think you should leave. And he was like, oh, why not? He was like, well, why can't I stay? And I was like, I need to go to bed, I need to pack, I'm leaving early tomorrow. And he was like, oh, alright. Like, he understood, and he got up, and he leans to me, kisses me, just like a peck, like, he just kisses me, but I was like, ugh. I didn't make that face, but I thought that in my head, I was like, ugh. And then he starts to walk away, and then he turns around, looks at me, and, like, says this kind of quiet, like, kind of like a whisper. He was like, don't think I won't be back for more. Don't think I won't be back for more. What? So at that point, I'm just freaked out. After he leaves my dorm, I lock it. I literally lock it, send my roommate a text message, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you're coming back to the dorm, because sometimes she stays with her boyfriend. I was like, but if you are, the door is locked, so either knock, or I hope you have your key. That was that. So then the next day, I go home, and he messages me, and he was like, hey, and I was like, hey. He was like, sorry about last night. He's like, but I had a really good time. And I was like, yeah, you made me feel really uncomfortable. And he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I guess, like, I drank too much and I just enjoyed your company too much. And I was like, he understood and he left me alone. And a couple months went by and we ended up talking it out, and I was like, listen, like, I don't want to hate you, like, I get it, like, you didn't mean it, blah, blah, blah. And that was that, like, it was over with. We didn't hang out, we didn't, like, have conversations, but, update, he ended up finding our channel on YouTube, he subscribed, and I was like, well, then I can't tell this story, because I don't want him to see it and him think I'm, like, talking bad about him, because, like, I'm telling the truth. But, like, I didn't want him to think, like, oh, he's this horrible person, everyone hate him. Like, I didn't want him to think that, which is why I never posted. I initially, that night, I filmed a video telling the whole story. It was probably better than this story because it was fresh in my mind and I remembered everything so well. He knows I have this channel, but he's not subscribed as of now. I don't know if he'll see this video eventually and be like, oh, well, she's terrible. And then after that, he pretty much would just message me every once in a while, like, hey, do you have alcohol? Or like, hey, can you go buy me alcohol because I'm not 21? Or like, hey, go do this, go do that. And I'm like, sorry, can't. I'm gonna be honest, Garth, if you're watching, I lied to you. Every single time you asked if I had alcohol, I did. Every time you asked me if I could go get alcohol, I could have, but I didn't want to. Sorry, Garth, but no. He's not a terrible person. Shouldn't hate him. I don't hate him. But he's just someone that, you know, a friendship that started off on the wrong foot. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Stay subscribed because I will post story times like this whenever. Let me know what video you want to see next because I will do it. Hope you guys enjoyed your snacks that you ate. I hope you ate while you watched this because it was kind of long. But yeah, I will see you guys probably next week. Bye!
Don't play with her, don't be dishonest. Ay. Still not understanding this logic. Hey, I'm back and I'm better.